Boy, Ellen fucked up, didn't she? I just think it's funny that Ellen's catching way more shit from liberals today for hanging out with Bush than she ever caught from conservatives in the 90s for munching on it. It's deep, she's a lesbian. I do find it odd that people are surprised by this, though. I mean, Ellen's been a stand-up comedian for 30 years, and as a comedian, I can tell you right now, war criminal ain't even top 5 most deplorable bags of shit she's ever hung out with. I promise you. Also, she's super rich and famous. I really believe that that stratosphere of wealth and fame, they don't think about politics and shit. It's all secondary to them. They don't sit around talking about politics and the weather like us plebes do. Their conversations are about shit like, I don't know, race horses and fancy mask orgies and shit. I don't know what rich people talk about. They're different. Like, I think it's like if you're a big sports fan and you watch your team take on their rival, and afterwards you see all the players down there hugging each other and smiling and laughing, and you're devastated. You're like, that's our rival. They just whipped our ass. How can you be that friendly with them? And then you realize this shit's super important to you, but to them it's just a fucking game. I think that's how a lot of rich people see the world, man. But I don't know. Maybe Ellen's different. Maybe she ain't like that. I don't know. I've never met her. I cuss too fucking much to do her show. But to me, it's irrelevant. The circumstances of her sitting there are irrelevant to me. I still think this backlash is absurd. I do. First of all, I think most of y'all are full of shit. You mean to tell me you ain't never had to sit next to your boyfriend's racist papaw at a wedding reception or something like that? It's never happened to you? And if it did happen to you, you're going to tell me you handled it differently than Ellen did? What? You took a stand? You told that little racist papaw about it? You put him in his place? Is that what you did? Because if you did, I got news for you. You fucked everybody else's day up. You really sucked to be around that day if that's what you did. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I grew up super liberal in the deep South, beset on all sides by people who, if you had made them the president, would have made George W. Bush look like Nelson fucking Mandela, okay? My whole life's surrounded by these people, and if I had lacked the capacity to be friendly with them without going on a self-righteous tirade, I never would have been invited to another potluck again. Yes, Pam, this broccoli casserole is good, but if you don't mind, I'd like to circle back to your God being a sham. I just don't get it. Like, y'all want to what? You want to cancel Ellen, LGBT pioneer and icon for decades because she what? Laughed at cats with a fucking shitty president? Really? Like, because I tell you right now, learning how to laugh with those people is literally the whole reason I'm standing here doing this today, okay? It's crazy to me. I really think it's symptomatic of a larger problem with liberals that drives me nuts, which is we cannibalize each other, man. We don't need the other side to tear us apart. We do it for them. Arguing over this liberal standard and whether we live up to it or you live up to it or whatever. Just meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, they'll line up around the block to support a guy that would have won gold at the date rape Olympics, and that ain't fucking cool, but that's why we get beat. Them motherfuckers stick together and we do not. Look at this situation. To those people, George W. Bush is a guy who ran on a platform opposing gay marriage, and he just palled around with the most famous lesbian couple on earth for an entire football game. Do you see any of them saying shit about it? No. They stick together and we fucking don't. Because liberals care so much about being right. We gotta be right all the time. Like, I'm right, that was wrong, you do what's right because we're liberals, I'll tell you what's right. You know, we always want to be the most right or the best type of right, just dividing ourselves further and further up while they're getting closer and closer together. And with 2020 on the horizon and everything at stake, I'm going to say again, like I've said before, liberals, do you want to be right or do you want to fucking win? Because there'll be plenty of time for this petty infighting bullshit like this after we take a couple victory laps next fall. But in the meantime, saddle the fuck up, man. God damn. Oh, and also my mom loves Ellen, and people being mad at Ellen makes her sad, so just cut it out.